Hmm. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday podcast as we discuss the news of the past week and just how life has been. I hope y'all are doing well. And good morning, Simpsons. I think it's Jordan Simpson. Yeah. Hey, man. But yeah, it's hope y'all are doing well. It has been a week. Uh, I have long stated that October is just spooky July for me. That as busy July is my busiest month of the year, and October is right there with it. Because October isn't just Comic-Con, October is DJ work and often weddings as well. And this weekend starts good morning, dude. This weekend starts uh about 15 DJ events between now and the end of the month. So it's a lot. Um, I am going to be missing Fayetteville Fan Fest this weekend vending because I am going to need to be I am going to need to be setting up for a wedding. Um, and so I will not be able to be at my booth. I'm going to have a booth just with like a flyer that says Geek Church is going to be at this time on Sunday. So if any of y'all just want to go to Fayetteville Fan Fest and like run my booth for me, you're welcome to. I'll give you a badge. But I am grateful Fayetteville Fan Fest actually letting me do Geek Church and giving me a booth to set up to promote Geek Church since I won't be there as much. So shout out to LJ and Keith and all those responsible for that. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, we definitely it's a busy weekend. I've got a wedding. I'm also doing some photography. Um and then if you've been following kind of like where some things have been medically, uh LJ, you man, like yeah, like you ain't got nothing else to do, bro. You running a whole Comic-Con. Um but if you've been following some of my medical stuff lately, I need to take it a little easier on my heavy lifting. And so I bought an entirely new DJ rig. I found somebody to buy some of my old equipment. And so I bought a new lighter weight DJ rig. And so I spent from the time I got done with work yesterday until it was dark last night, like in my driveway, setting it all up, testing it out and everything. So that'll be nice. It'll be a lot easier, in a lot of areas, lifting wise. I'm not going to have to lift anything dramatically heavy over my head, which will be good for my spine. Um, that being said, so I'll be running out to the Crown sometime today to set up a table, and then a wedding rehearsal tonight. Setting up for the wedding tomorrow. Running back out to the Crown for a little bit. Hey, Kelly, man, I missed you on Sunday, dude. I know you've been adventuring, but glad you out living memento vivering. Um, but yeah, I'll be back and forth between weddings and Fayetteville Comic Con and church all weekend, so it's gonna be a whole thing. But yeah, that's it. So I keep calling it Fayetteville Comic Con. My bad, y'all. It's it's the Justice Gang. It's the you know what it is, but it's just got a different name now. Yeah, let's jump into some news. I hope y'all are doing well. Thanks for jumping in with me, and also sorry for starting late if that matters. Today was my first day being able to sleep in over a month, where I didn't have to get up before my body wanted to. So I turned my phone off, um, and slept for a bit. But yeah, let's jump into news. Uh, Diane Keaton passed away this week. There's one thing. Legendary actress. Um, and hold on, John Jacob says, if you need some help, let me move Diane Keaton over so I can see what John's saying. If you need some help today or whenever, you're off for a week. Well, let's talk. I might put you to work at Fayetteville Fan Fest if you're down for the cause. Um, I'll hit you up after I get off of this. Um, but Diane Keaton passed away this week, legendary actress. She's been acting longer than well, obviously longer than I've been alive because she passed away at 79. But she's been an actress well established in the dramatic world for an incredible amount of time. So, lost there. But she left quite a dramatic legacy. So there's that. Marvel has officially announced that season two of Daredevil Born Again will be hitting our streaming services in March of 2026, which isn't that long, honestly, y'all. It's only like 6 months. So considering how long we waited for the the lapse in between, Daredevil series, that's what it is. Uh, a controversial comic book, which was canceled back in 1989, will officially be coming out this year, um, or will be coming out soon, uh, as announced at New York Comic Con. There was a comic book written in 1989 where Swamp Thing meets Jesus Christ and befriends him and ends up becoming the cross that he's crucified on. Um, this was a comic book from 1989, but DC canceled it, um, and shut the whole line down because Batman was going to theaters and they didn't want controversy surrounding Batman or surrounding DC Comics when Batman hit theaters. So they basically killed Jesus to give Batman room to breathe. Um, I never knew about a comic book where Swamp Thing met Jesus. Hey, Brian. But it was canceled in 1989 and it actually caused people to go on strike. Like several artists like boycotted and walked out because their comic book got canceled. But that comic will be coming out along with the Vertigo reprint that will be happening. So that storyline will be hitting the light of day soon. There will also be a new comic book that brings Magic and Colossus together for an adventure. That's coming as well. And James Gunn won the Harvey Award for comic book adaptation for Superman. The Harvey Award is an award for comic book adaptations, or there's lots of Harvey Awards, but he won the award for the comic book adaptation for the Superman movie that happened this summer. So, congratulations, well deserved. As it stands right now, there are 4 dates remaining for John Cena for the WWE. November 10th, November 17th, November 29th, and December 13th. Back when I was planning on, and I guess I am still planning on surgery, but probably less likely now. I was literally planning my surgery around being conscious to watch John Cena's final event. So, yeah. Mm, December 13th will be his last one on Saturday night main event, which should still be on Peacock. If it's not on Peacock, I'm going to be pretty sad because I'm not paying for ESPN. Um, Carolina Panthers player Rico Sherrod Dowdle scored the single most scrimmage yards in Carolina Panthers history last week with 239 yards in scrimmage. Congratulations, Rico. That's pretty fantastic. DC Comics has also announced a new line of comics for comic book characters that aren't quite uh, mainline material right now. So you'll be able to pick up comics that are just you pick them out randomly and you'll be able to jump right in. But they're going to be called DC Next Level. And the characters lined up so far for DC Next Level are going to be what's up, JLM Decals? Batwoman, Deathstroke, Firestorm, Shadow of the Bat, Zatanna, Lobo, Demon, which I assume is going to be Etrigan. Um, Barbara Gordon breakout and more. Kelly says time for a VPN, dude. Um, don't hate me. for I'm not poo-pooing on your cornflakes. I have like personal convictions on piracy when it comes to materials and art. I just don't do it. Video games, books, I'm just not about that life. Um, I'm not mad at you if you do it, and I trust me, I really want to, but mm-mm. But yeah. So those are all going to be popping out as opportunities for new comic book readers to jump in. Taylor Swift has announced, and Disney Plus has announced that the end of an era docu-series will be coming to Disney Plus. On December 12th. It'll be a six-part behind the scenes documentary series about the making of the Eras tour, which is one of the most profitable tours of all time. With special guests like Gracie Abrams, Sabrina Carpenter, etc. And then it will be a concert of the final show. So, um, a lot of stuff with that. There was controversy and praise all surrounding this week as before the Jaguars game on Sunday, the two-way rookie Travis Hunter. Kelly's like me too. Okay, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Um, Jaguars two-way rookie Travis Hunter um, got baptized at his church service Sunday morning before um, he went out to play his game against the Seahawks. Um, so he was at Celebration Church and he went and to get baptized that morning and then strapped up and played an NFL game. Now, we'll revisit this because Skip Bayless, because Skip is a model of encouragement, was very upset and had negative words that Travis would get baptized on a Sunday before his game. So we'll pop back over for that. In real life Ted Lasso world, Coach Beard got married. Star Brendan Hunt, who it plays Coach Beard in Ted Lasso, got married this past week, and Jason Sudeikis, complete with full Ted Lasso mustache. Good morning, Santana. I'm up in your early times. I slept in this morning, so it's good to see you. But Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso, actually officiated the wedding for his uh, on-screen best friend, and so that's pretty cool that to have Ted Lasso officiate Coach Beard's wedding. There's been some hubbub this week as with the movie the What's up, Nerd Pastor Nate? With the movie The Passion of the Christ Resurrection or the yeah, whatever the sequel is, the Passion of the Christ. Jim Caviezel has officially been replaced as playing Jesus, and Mary Magdalene has been replaced. Monica Bellucci has been replaced as playing Mary Magdalene. This comes with the fact that the actors are old. Um, uh, Santana says, "I know I love your podcast and I'll have to join with it." Yeah, girl. I'm way earlier than this, but this was the first day I could sleep in over a month. So I took that opportunity. And thank you for loving me and my podcast. I love you too. Um, but Caviezel played Jesus back in 2004, and they just decided not to go with him to play him in 2025. The same with Monica Bellucci. Just popping in. Good to see you, dude. I appreciate you. Um, Nerd Pastor Nate showing love on Instagram. But yeah, they uh they just replaced him, and so people are upset. And here's what I'm gonna say. I have, no super negatives on this, but Jim Caviezel lacked a little melanin to play Jesus in the first place. Just throwing that out there. The new Jesus they've cast lacks a lot more melanin than Jim Caviezel. So there's already people upset with that, and I get it. Madagascar has, in a protest this week from Africa, in the region of Madagascar, they actually caused the president to flee on Monday. And once again, this was another government revolution where a revolution led by Gen Z age folks began this revolution and carried it out while carrying flags from One Piece. that literally, as this revolution got so big that the president left the country, that kids, young adults carrying One Piece flags were part of this revolution. Um, I'm just, it's so not funny, but it's just so wild to me that the best symbol of revolution that in fighting for freedom and governmental oppression and stuff like that, that the world kind of has across the board is Straw Hat Luffy. Um, John says, I dislike rosy cheeked up Scott Irish Jesus. I'm just saying, knowing where Jesus was from regionally, that doesn't track logically. But, that's honestly why I don't give out those little Jesus figures because they're all a bit pale. Um, I did find a brownish one though, so I was pretty proud of that. But yes, Madagascar becomes the third region of the world to have a whole revolution and use One Piece as the center of it. And other kind of catastrophic world news, China executed a heavy crackdown on the church in China, uh, and more than 30 leaders were arrested in China's largest underground church, Zion Church, which is one of the bigger churches and underground church in China. Um, was kind of a linchpin in the growing faith of China, that has thousands of worshipers every week, gathered in apartments and online services and stuff like that. Um, there was threats and surveillance and shutdown, but Pastor Jim Mingri stayed in China to pastor his community after his family fled for safety. But him and 30 and more than 20 other leaders were arrested and are considered missing in this process of being cracked down on in the other church. So you want to remember those names, Zion Church and Pastor Jim Mingri are some people who could probably use your prayers right now. Uh, Jim Mingri also just goes by Ezra as he's talking to his, that's kind of his underground name. But yeah, their church meets in unregistered house churches, congregations meeting in apartments, restaurants, karaoke bars, in more than 40 cities in China. And yeah, that's pretty rough to hit with. This week, the government shutdown in America also spread over to affect um, the Smithsonian as of October. Sorry, the closure of the Smithsonian impacts all 21 Smithsonian institutions, such as the Air and Space Museum, the National History Museum, and 9 research centers and museums outside of Washington, D.C. So the zoos, the museums, everything Smithsonian related is officially shut down until we get over this government thing. Broadway is looking to pump the brakes again, as the union representing Broadway musicians has told Playbill that they plan to call a strike within the next 2 weeks. And a musician strike for Broadway would affect every play on Broadway, would affect every musical on Broadway except Ragtime. So, uh, Broadway musicians, you'll probably be hearing that within the next week or so, that they are going on strike and Broadway shows will shut down. So, if you have tickets for Broadway between now and Thanksgiving, you could be looking at kind of that halt. I'm actually planning to go to Connecticut in the 1st of November to see Almost Famous, but I think that's off Broadway and shouldn't count, but I really hope so. If you are familiar with hip hop beyond the mainstream and especially a little bit older hip hop. One of the groups that were doing a lot of big stuff in the early 2000s, late 90s was Deep Space Five. Deep Space Five has returned with a new single called The Future Ain't What It Used to Be, and you can pick that up from Deep Space Five. They're pretty banging. Um, And if you're familiar, one of the founding members of Deep Space Five Actually, two of the founding members of Deep Space Five, Manchild and Plato, both were performers throughout. Both were performers throughout music festivals and ministry events that I did in this area too. So it was kind of cool. Um, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, this upcoming group that's going to be happening on November 8th. Outcast will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as previously mentioned. But they will be inducted by Killer Mike, JID, and Sleepy Brown will be the ones inducting them into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, also at this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, 21 Pilots are going to be performing. Y'all, Outcast and 21 Pilots are going to be doing stuff on the same day. I just want to pause and thank God for his infinite goodness and moments like these, because this is stuff you can't make up. Um, Disney is reportedly proceeding with a live action version of Tangled after it got previously got shelved after every live action version has not done what it was supposed to do. But it's getting a push, and the live action version of Tangled is moving forward with Scarlett Johansson circling the role of Mother Gothel. The first time I saw Scarlett Johansson's name attached to Tangled, I'm like, that woman cannot be Rapunzel. Then I saw Mother Gothel, and I'm like, okay, cool, down. Um, Santana says, those are my people. Listen, you give me Outcast and 21 Pilots, girl, it's a whole day right there. Um, Taylor Swift makes Hot 100 history with all 12 songs from her life of a showgirl occupying the top 12 spots on the singles charts. So all 12 songs on her new album made it into the top 100 in the top 12 spots. Now, that's not going to last forever, but that's a pretty big accomplishment. Uh, there was a peace deal signed, or a ceasefire signed between Hamas and Israel and Gaza, like everything that was going out. But Hamas carried out public executions just hours after signing a peace treaty with Israel. So it is not a stable thing. There was progress made and there was good stuff that happened between Israel and Hamas and everything that happened with Gaza, but like it's not done. Um, the Powerball winner of the $2 billion Powerball win, Victor, the victor from that hails from Altadena, and he is now one of the largest landowners in that area. Edwin Castro spent millions of his Powerball winnings buying up homes and lots that were torched during the LA fires. So he's buying all the damaged properties and is now going to be one of the biggest real estate people in California. R&B legend, I think legend's fair to say. R&B legend D'Angelo passed away this week at the age of 51 after privately battling pancreatic cancer, which is sad. Uh, the new role of Jesus in the Passion sequel is going to be played by Jocko uh, Otanon. Yeah, Jocko Otanon. Um, and looking at Jocko Otanon, and I don't mean this with any shade, he looks like maybe someone who would lead announcements at a college ministry, not like Jesus. Um, but yeah. If you have lived in the Carolinas or you are moderately redneckish, you have heard the name John Boy and Billy on the radio. The Charlotte-based duo was a legendary force in morning driving radio shows. Um, they ended up at 50 stations nationwide. It was syndicated on mainly on rock and country stations. They've been paired together since 1980. John Boy and Billy will officially be retiring as of December 31st. This show will end on December 31st. So I never was like an avid fan of John Boy and Billy, but like when in the days of high school when I was flipping around the radio on the way to school, I appreciated them. Uh, Fortnite creator Tim Sweeney is using millions of his money that he's earned to buy land specifically for conservation. He's buying land to make sure that it doesn't get developed, um, and to keep safer animals, plants, trees, and all the things. So that's not a bad thing at all. If you are a 90s kid or an 80s kid and you watched Boy Meets World and you love Topanga, you got a treat this week with Dancing with the Stars as Topanga brought out Mr. Feeney on Dancing with the Stars. You can find clips and videos of it if you just want to see it. But Danielle Fishel, who plays Topanga, uh, brought out William Daniels, Mr. Feeney, at age of 98 to make a quick appearance on Dancing with the Stars. Um, it's sweet. It's heartwarming. It's also one of those things of like, he's old, but also he made it in 98. Good job, buddy. Um, and he's still friends with her and doing Dance with the Stars. I think that's a win all around. Cardi B, no, let me backtrack. Nicki Minaj, um, who has spent the past couple weeks in a beef with Cardi B, has now uh, issued a statement on X saying, "Okay, I'm not going to put out the album anymore. No more music. Hope you're happy now, Jay-Z. Bye, Barb's. Love you for life." So she said that she's not putting out music, and she credited that with Jay-Z for why. So now the beef has transpired to move to the point that Jay-Z's involved. Probably was involved the whole time, but now she says she will not be dropping her new album because of Jay-Z. Another loss of life this week that happened is Drew Struzan. Um, Do I think she's for real, Santana? I think she's beefing with I do think she's beefing with Cardi B, and I do think she's beefing with Jay-Z. Do I think she'll put out her album? Yes, she'll put out her album. She'll just This'll draw more attention to it when it does drop. But yeah, who knows, man? Jay-Z's a force to fight. I don't know that I would want to have to go against Hove in that capacity. Jay-Z is the head of Rockaware and Rock Nation and several other things. He's one of the biggest producers in the world. So for music to go through out in that community and do well, he's got his hands on it and he can stop music from doing well or getting promoted or whatever else. Jay-Z has been responsible for the past 5 or 6 Super Bowls too. So all of our Super Bowl performances, from like the Eminem, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige one up, have been Jay-Z responsibility. Jay-Z's the reason why Lil Wayne was not the performer last year and we got Kendrick instead. Um, he is basically one of the last big music moguls, and that still affects people like Nicki Minaj. In news this week of loss of life, Drew Struzan, who's a name you may not recognize, but whose work you definitely do. Drew Struzan is a painter, and specifically, he's a painter of movie posters. And you've seen his work your whole life. He painted the movie cover of Hook. He painted the movie cover of Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. He did the cover for five or for An American Tail. He did the poster for Goonies. He did the poster for Shawshank. He did the poster for Neverending Story and Back to the Future and the Muppet Movie and Harry Potter. All of these classic looking, really pretty paintings that are on the covers of movies forever. That was Drew Struzan. He illustrated your childhood, and he passed away this week. So he was wonderful, and he will be missed. Um, Booker T, who also he's a former WWE personality. He is one of the commentators on WWE NXT, um, and also runs Reality of Wrestling. Has decided to move their annual winter event Reality of Wrestling Sub-Zero to December 20th to clear the path so that there won't be any confrontation or distraction coming with John Cena's final match. Um, and he just said that he wanted to make sure that there wasn't a conflict and to honor Cena's final match and give people a full clear slate to watch it, which is a really respectable thing to do to move an entire event just so people can watch that. Um, the comic book company Humanoids has filed for bankruptcy. Probably a name you don't recognize, but they're still out there, and they're one more comic book company going down. Pokemon Go this week dropped a banger of information and news as they changed how the leveling system works. Sorry, fixing a plug. Levels jumped dramatically this week, depending on the effort you put into the game, um, because they basically said that they were short-sighted and they made things too hard. And originally, you could only get to level 40. Then they bumped it up to level 50, but they made the numbers from the tasks from level 40 to level 50 insanely hard. To where even for me personally, who is an avid player and gamer of that game, it took like a year and a half to move one level at a time of daily play. So they changed all that. And as of October 15th, at like 4 in the afternoon or 5 in the afternoon, everybody's levels went up, and the remaining tasks got easier. It went from level 50 to level 80. And from like me personally, I was on level 47 and I jumped to level 70. Um, and I got more items than I could carry. So if you haven't played Pokemon Go in a while and you're thinking of revisiting it, just be aware you might get us a pleasant surprise when you jump back in there. Um, mhm, mhm. Oh, back to Travis Hunter, who got baptized before his game on Sunday morning. Skip Bayless said there is no way Travis Hunter should have chosen to be baptized on the morning of a game. He is losing interest. He is mentally checking out on the Jaguars. Um, and KB, you know, rapper KB says, "If you love good things more than me, you cannot be my disciple." Luke 14:33. There's a fine line between good and God. And so Skip and KB had a little conversation on Twitter. Um, and yeah, so that went down. The anime and the manga Frieren are going to be taking an indefinite hiatus. Um, and Skip Bayless is a mess, dude. Um, Discussions with the creators, I'm not going to butcher their names, regarding the physical condition. The editorial department has decided to go give them a period of rest. Basically, the creators of Frieren are medically not doing great and they need some time off. Um, and so there will be a halt on the manga moving forward, which will also affect the anime for Frieren. Uh, the company Ramp pulled a big stunt in New York City this week as they put a giant glass office in the middle of New York City and hired Kevin from the office to sit there and do expense reports all day long and to entertain the crowds. And people gathered all around Kevin to watch him popped up in New York City. So you can check out video footage of that. If you're a fan of the Muppet Christmas Carol, the song "It Feels Like Christmas" from the Muppet Christmas Carol uh, is dropping a new cover from Fall Out Boy. So you can feel "It Feels Like Christmas" from the Muppet Christmas Carol performed by Fall Out Boy. If you want to check that out, that's out there. Um, Such crazy stuff. There is a music festival in a castle in Transylvania called Electric Castle 2026. And it's going to be headlined by The Cure and 21 Pilots at a castle in Transylvania. That's a whole vibe right there. Universal Studios is making a new theme park in Texas. Um, and that will feature Shrek, the Minions, Jurassic World, a Puss in Boots world, a Trolls Village, a SpongeBob world. So yes, new Universal Studios park coming to Texas. OpenAI CEO has announced that soon verified adults will be able to use ChatGPT to generate erotic content. Um, Kelly says he prefers the Emmett Otter jug band Christmas. I feel you. This is just a sad and really dangerous place that we're going to have AI that can generate erotic content for adults. It's going to be bad for mental health. It's going to be bad for relationships. It's going to be bad for young people who get their hands on verified accounts. I feel like it's dangerous. I don't think a lot of good's going to come from this, or any good's going to come from this. But we're a world that doesn't listen. There's also a grok version of this where you um think I saw a video of Annie that is a AI girlfriend who will actually be needy and jealous and have all the emotions. And yeah, and this ties into a story we'll hit a little bit later too. But Ace Frehley, a founding member of Kiss, the rock band, has died at the age of 74 after suffering a brain bleed. Oh, um, PayPal and Venmo both went down this week with a global shortage, so you might want to check out your PayPal, make sure you're good with that. News agencies are reporting a Christian revival across a large portion of America. Um, Bible sales are up 41% since 2022. Um, Bible apps and religious apps are up 79.5% since 2019. And Spotify streams for Christian music are up 50% since 2019. So just kind of like a projected growth of like Christian culture. Sonic the Hedgehog is now a selectable sidekick on the Waze app. So if you use the Waze app for your directions, you can now have Sonic the Hedgehog telling you to go fast and probably getting you a ticket. Um, I can't imagine hearing Sonic say, "Slow down, buddy. There's a stoplight." Um, Battlefield 6 sold a record-shattering 7 million copies of their franchise in the first 3 days. It's the best franchise launch ever for the Battlefield franchise. Assassin's Creed franchise boss Mark Alexis Cote has departed Ubisoft, and after years of leading the series. So the man who's been responsible for most of the majority of Assassin's Creed games in the last, decade has officially stepped down. Taco Bell is about to debut a new flamin' hot grilled cheese burrito for a limited time. So that'll be cool. A 31-year-old woman named Summer Equits um, died by suicide at Walt Disney World this week, um, as she threw herself in front of the monorail, which is obviously sad and tragic for everyone involved with that. Uh, and hours before this happened, her friends were on Reddit frantically searching for her for because she had gone missing. And there's, obviously more to the story, but that's sad, and I'm sorry for the loss for everyone involved with that. Um, 20 the 20 remaining surviving hostages that were dragged into Gaza by Hamas on October 7th, 2023 were returned this week. Um, Over 250 people were taken hostage by Hamas in 2023, and it appears 20 surviving hostages of that group were returned this week. And you can see a lot of their reunions and such online. It's great to see them, but it's also sad. Santana says she hopes no kids were present when that happened. And I agree, but just the reality, it's Disney. I feel like there has to be. I don't think you can really see a lot of things on the front of the monorail, but probably outsiders probably did see things. Um, Christians filled a mile-long communion table at the National Mall this week. If you know the National Mall, it's the big stretch of land from the Washington Monument on down. They had a mile-long communion table. They had been planning this event for years, prior to government shutdown and everything else, and where people gathered and shared communion and worshiped and sang and had like a peaceful moment of community there in the middle of DC. Uh, Researchers at Oregon Health and Science University in Portland have done something that has never been done by humans. They've created human eggs from skin cells. Um, and, you know, in what they're actually labeling as playing God. Um, it says this technique could open the door for people to have children that can't genetically have children. Could also open the door for women unable to produce children through like their own eggs, might be able to grow eggs from their own skin cells, and people that normally couldn't have children could have genetically related children through this process. It's a big sci-fi leap right there. Um, a famed Duck series returns to TV. When I saw the beginning of this article, I was hoping it was DuckTales, but it's not. Duck Dynasty is back with new episodes on Hulu. I never have watched Duck Dynasty. I know a lot of people are passionate, and the Robertsons are very popular with a lot of folks, but they are back with new episodes on um, Hulu. Skip that one. Director of the Fast and Furious, Justin Lin, is moving from Fast and Furious to telling stories of missionaries. He did a new movie about the life of the missionary John Allen Chow, and his ultimate sacrifice and martyrdom on North Sentinel Island. When he was part of Oral Roberts University to his work to the mission groups All Nations. So, the dude who made some of the Fast and Furious movies is now making the story about a missionary who gave up his life to reach people. So, pretty interesting turn there. Um, Justin Hauser, I'm say his name right. No, sorry, Paul Walter Hauser, um, who has been blowing up in recent years between Cobra Kai and Marvel's The Fantastic Four, also in TNA Wrestling, has been blowing up. And he took a role with The Chosen animated series, even while he's one of the biggest names in Hollywood right now. Um, and he made the following statements. He said, I'm just really proud to be open about being a Christian person. For me, Hollywood, it's always been something I've been open about, but this is a time to really plant a flag in the ground and say, yeah, I want to work with Margot Robbie and Spike Lee, but I also want to work with the folks from The Chosen. Um, he says, I've done family entertainment before, as far as like Cruella, Cobra Kai, Inside Out 2, Orion in the Dark. But this being faith-based, I think was something I've always wanted to engage in, but I haven't seen that much good faith-based material. Um, which reality, all there's not a lot of great faith-based material in entertainment. Um, he's the chubby dude in Cobra Kai, the chubby older guy. Santana. I've not watched Cobra Kai fully, but I thought he was funny in the one final episode or whatever that I watched. Um, he said I was a big fan of the Chosen live action show, and when I heard they were doing this, they offered me the role of the sheep, and I was like, dude, absolutely, it's funny, it's well written, and it has this even higher calling and purpose than most things. Um, so he is now the voice of the sheep in the Chosen animated series. And you'll get to see him more in the Marvel world as Mole Man. But dude's just kind of a man of a lot of talents. He's also going to be playing Chris Farley in a biopic coming up in the near future. So that's pretty cool too. Daddy Yankee, the R&B and Latin artist, stated that he plans to revolutionize pop culture after coming to Christ. So that's cool. Gold has hit a record new price of $4,075 per ounce. Um, so if you have gold sitting around, it's probably time to sell. Um, on Saturday, in the Bergana Monastery in La Vetra Brianza, Italy, which was founded in 1628, was engulfed by flames. The 21 nuns that called that place of worship home were able to escape the blaze and have been relocated. But this is one of those places that has been around forever. Literally, you can run by this place in Assassin's Creed. Um, so it's there. For the first time in a decade, no superhero movies are in the top five highest grossing films of 2025. Even while some were successful, they weren't the highest grossing. New York City has launched a lawsuit against major tech companies claiming that social media platforms are driving mental health crisis among children by fostering addiction-like behaviors. The 327-page lawsuit accuses companies behind Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, and TikTok of gross negligence and creating a public nuisance. There are also other 2,000 organizations joining in on similar suits. Um, one a survey among high school students has shown that 1 in 5 teens say that they've known someone who's had a romantic relationship with an AI counterpart. 1 in 5 students know someone who's had a romance with AI. Again, not going to be great. This won't go well. Um, and that's our news, guys. Happy, sad, depressing, all the things, but that is our news for the week. Um, at this time, let's go ahead and jump in and do our roll for initiative Bible reading. Some dice over here. All right. All right. We got our rock, paper, scissors die. We're going to do a rock for the Old Testament, paper for the New Testament. So, yeah. Sorry, scissors for the New Testament because it's a two, and then paper for the Old Testament because it covers everything. So let's see where we're reading out of. Whole Bible. Oh, got paper. All right. So we need 3d20. 1, 2, 3, and a d10. And we'll subtract 4 from whatever this lands on so we can include the first 4 books of the Bible. All right. Let's see what we landed on. 19, 13, 6, and 3. So let's do math. That's 9. That's 22. That's 22. 41. Yeah, 41. Subtract 3. So we're going to subtract 4. Um, no, subtract 3, not 4. Because you still need to land on 1. Um, so that would give us 41. Sorry, I'm bad at math. Um, yeah, Santana, it's the rock because it's the one that hits the hardest. Um, 9. So that's 9 plus 13 is 22. 22 plus 19 is 41. Subtract 3. So that should be 38, which means it's the next to last book in the Old Testament. So the last book in the Old Testament is 39, which is Malachi. So we're going to be in Zechariah. Let's see how many chapters are in Zechariah. My normal Bible is at my church office. Sorry. Zechariah has a lot of chapters. I would not have thought. Zechariah has 14 chapters. Wow. Who knew? I didn't even know Zechariah was a book of the Bible until this morning. I knew it, but I didn't know it. All right, so we've got 15. So we're just going to go ahead and roll a d20 and see what we land on. Or 14. We got 12. So Zechariah chapter 12 is our reading for today. Hmm. All right. And we've got future deliverance for Jerusalem. How many Bibles do I own, Santana? Oh, golly. One, two, three, four, five. I'm gonna be honest, it's probably a lot. I've got five on my desk here at my house and probably eight or nine at the church. I only use like one at a time, but I don't ever get rid of them. So if I've filled them up with notes or highlights or they're damaged or whatever else, and I kind of change Bibles with new seasons of life too, just so it's kind of a fresh start. So a lot's a fair answer. Um, but Zechariah chapter 12, future deliverance for Jerusalem. This message concerning the fate of Israel comes from the Lord. This message is from the Lord who stretched out the heavens, laid the foundations of the earth, and formed the human spirit. I will make Jerusalem like an intoxicating drink that makes the nearby nations stagger. When they send their armies to besiege Jerusalem and Judah, on that day I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock, and all the nations will it to gather together against it to try and move it, but they will only hurt themselves. On that day, says the Lord, I will cause every horse to panic and every rider to lose his nerve. I will watch over the people of Judah. I will bind the horses of their enemies, and the clans of Judah will say to themselves, the people of Jerusalem have found strength in the Lord of heaven's armies, their God. On that day, I will make the clans of Judah like a flame that sets a wood pile ablaze, or like a burning torch among the sheaves of grain. They will burn up all their neighbors and nations right and left, while people living in Jerusalem remain secure. The Lord will give victory to the rest of Judah first before Jerusalem, so that the people of Jerusalem and the royal line of David will not have greater honor than the rest of Judah. On that day, the Lord will defend the people of Jerusalem. The weakest among them will be as mighty as King David, and the royal descendants will be like God, like the angel of the Lord who goes before them. For on that day I will begin to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. Then I will pour out a spirit of grace and prayer over the family of David and on the people of Jerusalem. They will look on me whom they have pierced and mourn for him as for an only son. Hmm. They will grieve bitterly for him as for a firstborn son who has died. The sorrow and the mourning of Jerusalem on that day will be like a great mourning, like Hadad Rimmon in the valley of Megiddo. All Israel will mourn each clan by itself with the husbands separate from their wives. The clan of David will mourn alone, as will the clan of Nathan, the clan of Levi, the clan of Shimri. Each of the surviving clans from Judah will mourn separately and with the husbands separate from their wives. Um, Bro, I can't find my Bible. Kelly, I feel you. I freaked out. I was doing the devotional or like the Bible study at the arcade this week and didn't have my Bible and I felt super naked. But yeah, that I always get the passages about Israel. That's cool though. There's stuff that we can learn from the simple fact that God is going to stand by his promises and he's going to protect his people even when it doesn't look like it's going to happen, and that sometimes that protection will come after destruction. But even in that case, he's still good and he's still watching over them. And, you know, in a New Testament society and a New Testament heart. Hey Grayson, good to see you, dude. Um, that just means that he's going to be showing up for us where we're at, even in the middle of all the struggles. All right, so that's our news for the week. That's all of that stuff before we're going. I'm gonna go ahead and begin to wrap up as I go prepare to set up a booth at Fayetteville Fan Fest. Um, and yeah, it's Santana, not regular naked, super naked. Um, yeah, I'm gonna take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for all that you're doing. As I'm coming close to the end of the con year, I've got like technically 3 events left. Um, and with that, uh, it's been a big year. It's been a good year, and I want to thank all y'all that helped make it possible. And so I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. Um, uh, Jessica Luttrell from Cosplay for Christ, Jackie Kraft, Kelly Townsend, Alan Wallace, Fab Quack, Rivka and Tristan Birch, Dorothy Martin Winston, Michelle Stewart, Miss Lynn Turner, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, the Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, uh, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn, Jay Sheed, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, and Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you all for supporting the way that you do, for being the encouragements that you are. And thank all y'all for taking time to listen, to watch, and to be as present and encouraging you are in my life and all the ways that you are. And I hope that God will do big things in your life this week. And I'm going to end it with the same verse that I'm trying to memorize so that I can end everything with it. 3rd John chapter 1 verse 2. Dear friend, I hope all is well with you and that you are as healthy in body as you are strong in spirit. Thank y'all for taking time to listen, and I hope to see you all at a con real soon. Bye, y'all.